my good friend was telling me about getting this letter in the mail as an offer on his house, and just how offensive it was, because it was so, I don't know, the reduction of years of growing with his family, of investing in the land, of planting his tomatoes, and creating strategies to keep the squirrels out of his gardens, and watching his daughters grow on the property in their house, and the sound of the creaks of the floor, and reducing all that to, we'll give you bottom dollar for your house, we'll pay in cash, contact us now. like you clown, this is my home. And isn't that symptomatic of, whoa, there you go, Gemma. And isn't that symptomatic of a world that reduces the intimacy of nature and place, of home, to just a dollar sign? The commodification, the reduction of culture to the most obscene, materialist, sort of like vacuous dimension. And I remember when I lived in my grandparents' home, I lived there for 10 years. There were 2 apple trees in the yard, 2 pear trees, an heirloom rose bush that is still the sweetest smelling rose bush I've ever encountered. I've tried to cultivate it. And I would get these offers. I would get calls and offers for my home. That when my grandparents' home, this rose bush was over 100 years old, like the Hudson heirloom rose bush. And these people would be just so utterly confident. I will buy your house for cash. Like, what do you, like this is a crazy offer. This is the best offer you're gonna get. And you'd be insane to not take my offer on your home. And it was sort of like, wow. Like, you can't put a price on a 100-year-old rose bush that my grandfather dug up from a home where he moved across town and walked across town to have this rose bush and replant it in his yard. You can't put a price on the fact that my grandmother was making apple pies when I was a child from the apple trees that were in my backyard. You can't put a price on how much time and energy that I've put into the land, that I know which way my watershed, the sort of like microcosm watershed in my yard, and I know which way, like where it floods, and I know the animals like in my yard. I know the nature. I know where my cat goes, and like, you can't put a price on all that. And that's the interesting thing, is when you get a culture obsessed with the commodification and the reduction of value to just exchange, to just a monetary state, an artifact. Of course you get a ruin of land. Of course you get like the ripping of all the ecology, just all the sense of the interconnectedness of things is just an utter ruin, because no one has invested time and fallen in love with a place. So we sacrifice love at the altar of a good rate of exchange. You know, and people talk about the housing crisis in America. It's like, well, if only the Democrats could get through all the red tape. That's the problem. It's legislation. Or that's the problem. It's policy. This is sort of just the monotony of parenting that you hear on like a New York Times opinion, but Ezra Klein. Brilliant show. But it's like, I think it's sort of a lot more fundamental than that, right? We've lost a sense of place. We're utterly dislocated. And that in our search for deep meaning, and we have pursued lesser gods. And it is utterly at the expense and ruin of the types of intimacy that we need, and the types of connection to place and community that we need. It's like the primary spiritual sickness of our nation, like encapsulated in like, let's just cut down that apple tree. We can sell the land for less. It's like, And that happening like writ large over and over on an entire culture. It's no wonder we live in an addicted culture. So to be about the work is to like sow the seeds in your yard and watch them grow and let your children play underneath the shadows of those trees. You know, it's like that legacy. If you haven't heard it yet today, I love you.